My dear brethren, it is vital to remember a fundamental truth. Do not add any words or change any words, use original text. This principle extends far beyond mere written communication. It is a profound guide for how we speak of one another. Yet, how often do we see this disregarded, particularly in the realm of commerce? Individuals seeking to draw business to themselves will engage in such evil things. They will say, for instance, that their merchandise is worthless or they cheat. They will invent claims that competitors have nothing at home, suggesting it would be impossible to give goods away at a fair price. They fabricate stories of numerous complaints about these goods, asserting they offer no value, no wear, or are short weight, or not the right length, and so on. This calculated defamation is not just unethical, it is a grievous sin, deliberately designed to ruin a neighbor's livelihood through falsehoods and baseless accusations. It is a direct assault on truth and charity, poisoning the well of fair competition. This insidious practice of slander extends deeply into the workplace, contaminating professional relationships and reputations. A workman, driven by envy or insecurity, will say that another man is not a good worker, that he is always changing his job, or that people are not satisfied with him. Perhaps he will spread rumors that the man does no work, merely puts in his time, or perhaps that he does not know how to work at all. And then, in a display of false humility or feigned concern, they will add, "What I was telling you there, it would be better to say nothing about it. He might lose by it, you know." This pretense of caution after sowing seeds of doubt is especially vile. When one hears such a comment, the appropriate response should be, "Is that so?" And then, "It would have been better if you yourself had said nothing. That would have been the thing to do." We must call out this hypocrisy, recognizing that true compassion never precedes a malicious attack on character. The roots of slander are often found deeply embedded in the soil of envy and vengeance. Consider the farmer who observes that his neighbor's property is doing better than his own. This simple fact, rather than inspiring diligence or admiration, makes him very angry, so he will speak evil of him. This bitter jealousy, left unchecked, manifests as malicious talk. Beyond envy, there are others who slander their neighbors from motives of vengeance. If you do or say something to help someone, even through reasons of duty or of charity, these vindictive individuals will then look for opportunities to decry you. They will think up things which will harm you, crafting elaborate falsehoods or exaggerating minor imperfections, all in order to revenge themselves. Their sole purpose becomes to tear down those who do good, because their own hearts are consumed by a desire for retribution, rather than seeking truth or reconciliation. The targets of slander are often those who are well regarded, whose success or virtue highlights the perceived shortcomings of others. If their neighbor is well spoken of, the envious will be very annoyed. They will then tell you, with a feigned air of superior knowledge, "He is just like everyone else. He has his own faults. He has done this, he has said that, you didn't know that? Ah, that is because you have never had anything to do with him." This is a desperate attempt to diminish another's reputation, to pull them down from their deserved esteem. Moreover, a great many people slander others because of pride. They erroneously think that by depreciating others, they will increase their own worth. They want to make the most of their own alleged good qualities, believing that if everything they say and do is good, then, by extension, everything that others say and do must be wrong. This self-serving pride blinds them to their own moral failings. While malice, envy, and pride fuel much of the slander we witness, the great bulk of malicious talk is done by people who are simply irresponsible. These individuals have an itch to chatter about others without feeling any need to discover whether what they are saying is true or false. They just have to talk. For them, truth is secondary to the satisfaction of their gossiping impulse. Yet, although these latter are less guilty than the others, that is to say, than those who slander and backbite through hatred or envy or revenge, yet they are not free from sin. Whatever the motive that prompts them, be it deep-seated malice or mere thoughtlessness, they should not sully the reputation of their neighbor. It is my belief that the sin of scandal-mongering, in all its forms, includes all that is most evil and wicked. It is a fundamental disregard for the inherent dignity of another human being. Yes, my dear brethren, this sin includes the poison of all the vices. It embodies the meanness of vanity, the venom of jealousy, the bitterness of anger, the malice of hatred, and the flightiness and irresponsibility so utterly unworthy of a Christian. Consider its pervasive impact. Is it not, in fact, scandal-mongering which sows almost all discord and disunity in our communities? It breaks up friendships and hinders enemies from reconciling their quarrels, perpetuating cycles of animosity. Most tragically, it disturbs the peace of homes, turning brother against brother, husband against wife, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law, and son-in-law against father-in-law. This poison infiltrates the very foundations of family and society. Let us, therefore, resolve to guard our tongues, to speak only what is true, kind, and necessary, and to resist the temptation to engage in this most destructive of vices, so that peace and charity may truly flourish. How many united households have been turned upside down by one evil tongue, so that their members could not bear to see or to speak to one another? And one malicious tongue, belonging to a neighbor, man or woman, can be the cause of all this misery. It is a potent, invisible weapon, one that strikes not with physical force, but with insidious whispers and corrosive falsehoods. Consider the foundation of trust, painstakingly built over years within families and communities. A single ill-intentioned rumor, a cutting remark based on envy or malice, can shatter that foundation in an instant. The emotional scars left by such attacks often run deeper than physical wounds, poisoning relationships, fostering resentment, and tearing apart the very fabric of social harmony. This isn't just hyperbole, it's a stark reality played out daily in countless lives, leaving individuals isolated and communities fractured by words alone. Yes, my dear brethren, the evil tongue of one scandalmonger poisons all the virtues and engenders all the vices. It is from that malicious tongue that a stain is spread so many times through a whole family, a stain which passes from fathers to children, from one generation to the next, and which perhaps is never effaced. Think of the lasting impact of a reputation unjustly marred, not just for the individual, but for their lineage. Children inherit not only their parents' genes, but also the narratives that surround their family name. A perpetuated lie, a whispered accusation, can become an unshakable family legend, shaping perceptions and opportunities for generations. Sociologists confirm that community memory, however flawed, often dictates social standing and access to resources. This ancestral slander creates a heavy burden, an invisible prejudice that successors must battle, fighting shadows of past untruths that refuse to dissipate long after their originators have been forgotten. The malicious tongue will follow the dead into the grave. It will disturb the remains of these unfortunates by making live again the faults which were buried with them in that resting place. What a foul crime, my dear brethren! Would you not be filled with fiery indignation if you were to see some vindictive wretch rounding upon a corpse and tearing it into 1,000 pieces? Such a sight would make you cry out in horror and compassion. And yet, the crime of continuing to talk of the faults of the dead is much greater. Our societal norms often dictate respect for the deceased, a recognition of their inability to defend themselves. Yet, how readily do some disregard this, picking apart a life, real or imagined, long after the person has passed. This posthumous slander not only dishonors memory, but also inflicts fresh pain on grieving families, denying them peace and closure. It is a cruel act, effectively denying redemption and perpetuating a negative legacy that the deceased can never refute. A great many people habitually speak of someone who has died something after this fashion. "Ah, he did very well in his time. He was a seasoned drinker. He was as cute as a fox. He was no better than he should have been." But perhaps, my friend, you are mistaken. And although everything may have been exactly as you have said, perhaps he is already in heaven. Perhaps God has pardoned him. But in the meantime, where is your charity? This observation forces us to confront the motivations behind such destructive talk. Psychologists suggest that gossip often stems from a complex mix of social, emotional, and even evolutionary factors. It can be a misguided attempt to bond with others, a way to feel superior by diminishing someone else, or a means to cope with personal insecurities. Sometimes it's simply a habit, a thoughtless indulgence in spreading negativity, without truly grasping the profound damage inflicted. Understanding these root causes is the first step towards breaking this harmful cycle. So, where is your charity? This question is not merely rhetorical. It is a profound call to action for each of us. If we are to heal the wounds inflicted by malicious tongues, we must consciously choose a path of compassion and truth. This means cultivating mindful speech, pausing before we speak, considering the impact of our words, and asking ourselves if our commentary is kind, necessary, or true. It means actively challenging gossip when we hear it, not participating in the degradation of another's character, living or dead. It requires empathy, putting ourselves in the shoes of those being discussed and recognizing their inherent dignity. By choosing to speak with charity, to build rather than to tear down, we not only protect others, but also elevate ourselves and our communities. We can transform our words from instruments of destruction into tools of healing, fostering environments where trust, respect, and understanding truly flourish.